Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Everybody, it's Jeff. Glad everybody's here. Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. It was gloomy here, gray, but very warm, and it was snow was melting pretty good. So hopefully, you know, they said there's some rain coming. If rain comes, then we can wash a lot of that snow the hell out of here and make the walkways safer to walk on anyway. So I got a couple. Well, I got a video, okay, and it's from iHip Girls, and they're talking about how the U.S. is siding with Russia at the UN, and they're very upset about that. So let's go to that video here, and we'll talk on the other side.
Some alarming news. Further confirmation that Donald Trump is a Russia/Putin sympathizer. Yesterday in the United Nations, there was a vote regarding Russia and their actions. Let me show it to you. The U.S. votes against the UN resolution condemning Russia for the Ukraine war. Now, I ask you, when all of the Western allies, all of NATO is voting in favor of this, and the United States votes with Hungary, Belarus, China, all the dictators.
No, even China didn't vote for this.
Even China didn't?
No, even China set this out, Pumps. They voted with Iran, North Korea.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, this tells you everything you need to know. And this whole Trump-Russia thing, from the Mueller report to before that, when Kevin McCarthy was talking to then Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, and they said, we think Trump is on Putin's payroll. And then this total bend over on the international global stage and lying, using Tucker Carlton's and the Kremlin's talking points to the Americans and completely lying that Ukraine started the war. And it's no surprise. So we have a compromised federal government right now, a compromised executive branch, and we're going to keep calling it out. But this is insanity. And to all the triple Trumpers, you might think you want to live the way the Russians live, and you might think North Korea seems fun, and you might think Iran seems cute. You're a dumbass. You're a total dumbass. This is devastating to our country and to the entire international order.
What struck me about it is you have all of these reports coming out. I've read different articles that, you know, Trump's a Russian asset and so said this, and this is what we know. I'm like, I don't have to read anything that tells me that Trump is aligned with Russia, because I can look at his actions. His actions tell me all I need to know. Tulsi Gabbard in the intelligence, it's just one thing right after the other. But Mark Kelly, what I thought Senator Mark Kelly said, I thought was worth us hearing, because I think it's so true and it makes a great point.
Senator, what's your reaction to where the U.S. stands tonight on this war, which is obviously tougher on Ukraine than on Russia?
Yeah, Anderson, it's shocking, you know, that after 80 years, in a few days, Donald Trump just blew up the Western alliance. I mean, completely. And you have the Secretary of Defense on TV over this weekend talking about how this is a complicated situation. It's not complicated. It's very clear who the aggressor is. It's clear who the war criminal is. And this vote today in the UN, where the United States of America is siding with the North Koreans and with Russia and Belarus. I mean, even after this, first month of this administration, I'm still kind of shocked of what happened over the last, several days. And make no mistake, Anderson, this makes our country look weak, and we are less safe because of it.
By the way,
it just, when you think about what he's done to the military, what he's done on the international stage, I worry. Is the U.S. as strong as it used to be? Are we going to get in some type of conflict that we can't defend ourselves because we have incompetent people from top to bottom, and we're siding with Russia? You've got Elon Musk, who there's no question was talking to Putin for years. The Starlink incident with Ukraine during the Russia-Ukrainian war. Like, this is terrifying stuff. I'm literally alarmed.
It is. I think what's so devastating about all of this, and this is why Macron came over, and you see the Europeans forcefully meeting and talking about how they can help support Ukraine, because Putin has ambitions to charge into all of Europe. And I think they have Donald Trump by the balls. His balls are in a vice grip. I think he is so incredibly compromised. This guy loves to take victory laps. He loves to talk about what a badass he is. Now he's picking fights with the governor of Maine, because that's all he can really do, because Musk and Putin won't allow him to do anything bigger than that. He can't defend the United States of America on the national stage because he's owned and compromised by Musk and Putin. And this is horrific. This is terribly sad. The United States of America voted with our adversaries at the UN, and that is breathtaking.
It really is. And what I find interesting, this next comment from Trump regarding this issue, I have a lot to say about that. So let's play the clip.
Rationale in having the U.S. vote against the UN resolutions that Ukraine proposed and also the U.S. proposed?
I would rather not explain it now, but it's sort of self-evident, I think.
It is self-evident. It is self-evident that Putin is in control of the United States government through Donald Trump, his useful idiot. It is absolutely self-evident that this government will lay down for Putin. It's oligarchy, Putin, Musk's. I don't know what is going on, but I know it is nefarious, and I know it has real world implications, not just for the United States, but for Europe at large.
It's very obvious. I mean, it is very, very obvious that this is a coup. And at first look, you could think it was by Elon Musk, but it seems to be that the president of the United States has been compromised by Russia for the longest time. And I'm ready for the climax. Like, what is it? Do you have the PP tape? Let's roll it out. I mean, let's go. But I think it's even deeper than that. I think Trump is owned by them. I think that we all know he's a terrible businessman. As you always point out, he bankrupted a casino. I think the Russians have bailed him out. I think they have him compromised financially. I think they have him compromised with other, probably provocative style, compromising material, and they own him. And when you see him, his posture sitting next to Macron, how he's slumped over, how emasculated this man looks. And when you see him, when Elon Musk is dominating him in the Oval Office, standing up over him with a kid on his shoulders when the kid wasn't wiping the boogers on the desk, and he's slumped over and sitting there, this man is the weakest American president we have ever seen. And this is terrifying. And I don't know what can be done, but I do know that I want the world to know that tens of millions of Americans see what you are seeing. Mm-hmm. And we do not want to lose our alliances with Western democracies and other, peacemaking countries around the world. This is horrifying for us to watch, that Donald Trump, the president of the United States, is kissing ass to a human rights violator, a thug, voting with North Korea. But this shouldn't be that big of a surprise. This man said during his first term that he was in love with Kim Jong-un, right? And they wrote each other love letters. I mean, so I really just have such disdain for any triple Trumper, because you have agency over the news that you get. And if you just traffic in all this bullshit, people are getting fired. people that just want to live their lives and have a stable job. I was just at the hair salon this morning. The woman sitting next to me, attorney, fired from the FAA.
I've heard
It's just, it's widespread.
Well, the last clip I want to leave you with is self-evident because Donald Trump, who has called Zelensky a dictator, refuses to call Putin a dictator, which we all know Putin is a dictator, a war criminal, murderer, all the things. Here we go.
Zelensky a dictator, would you use the same words regarding Putin?
I don't use those words lightly. I think that we're going to see how it all works out. Let's see what happens. I think we have a chance of a really good settlement between various countries. And, you're talking about Europe and you're talking about Ukraine as part of that whole situation. The other side has a lot of support also. So let's see how it all works out. It might work out. Look, you can never make up lives. The one thing you can make up the money, but you can't make up the lives. A lot of lives lost. I think probably a lot more lives than people are talking about. It's been
okay. That's enough. So he will run around and call Zelensky a dictator, but he doesn't use that word lightly when it comes to Putin, and he has absolutely no respect for anything but money. He's sitting there saying a lot of lives were lost. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit that unprovoked Russia went in and tried to take over a sovereign nation. He doesn't care because Putin is his bedfellow. And it is as obvious to me as the nose. It is obvious to me as the nose on my face.
Also, it's insulting to all of our intelligence that he would say that he's so worried about lives lost when he is talking about relocating all Palestinians and developing that into condominiums. Never, not one time has he ever expressed the war crimes from Benjamin Netanyahu to Palestine. Not one time has he ever expressed that. He wants to cherry pick when he cares about lives. What he cares about are Russian lives because Putin cares about that, because Putin has ambitions to dominate and control the United States of America, and everybody needs to wake up.
Completely agree. Stick with us for more updates.
Well, there's a lot of proof there coming out as of recent that shows that Trump and Putin seem to be butt buddies. Swole, get down, come on. Hold on a second here. So yeah, I mean, you got evidence there that Trump and Putin are cozying up together, and I just saw on TV that Ukraine is agreeing to a framework with the United States on talks with Russia, I guess. So, maybe that's a sign there that Zelensky might be interested in trying to work out some kind of peace arrangement. Thing of it is though, it's just, we don't know what's in it. I don't know if they know what's in it, but the thing is if there's any capitulation there to give territory over to Russia, I don't know if that's going to work. I mean, because with Crimea was one thing, but I don't think Zelensky is going to be interested in allowing Russia to keep territories that they currently control. That's the part of it that I don't like either, because it's like, well, look, I mean, you're saying, we surrendered, parts of Ukraine that were illegally taken because it was Russia's, initiative. And what Russia, I think, is looking for is, a respite in this war to recoup their losses. Get more soldiers, build up more assets, and then later on, if Putin is still around, he might try and continue another war with Ukraine again. So it's one of the things where, yeah, this might be just a temporary arrangement if there's a peace deal, but it certainly doesn't sound like it'll be permanent, because Putin is really hell-bent on taking back the old USSR in all of its form. Okay, and as long as Putin is still in power, I don't think Ukraine has any reason to think that they can feel safe. But maybe this would give Ukraine a chance to work towards becoming a member of NATO, and they would have NATO support, and that would be good for them. So, if anything, what you'll probably see is both sides, shoring up their strengths. you know, and if Ukraine can get NATO support in case Russia decides they want to go in there again, well, that could be a different kind of war then. And, you know, where the United States will stand in that war is really up to us, because, you know, it depends on who our fucking president is. You know, it's sad to think that the United States, after everything we tried, you know, we was helping out Ukraine and all that, after everything, that we would actually take the side of Russia. It makes me sick, okay? I'm sorry. You know, it makes me fucking sick. And I don't have any pride to be an American under that circumstance. I mean, that communism was the one thing this country stood against for all the time that I was alive. Okay, and now all of a sudden it's become acceptable. Okay, and I don't see how any of the rest of this country can feel like it is acceptable just because Trump is. You know, I don't like it, and like I said yesterday, you know, Trump ain't a president, he's an authoritarian, so he needs to go. He does not belong in the White House. It's like putting Putin in the White House. Same fucking thing. You know? And right now, a lot of people in MAGA are as equally pissed about this as I am. Okay? Because this is not what they wanted either. They didn't want to see Trump kissing up to Putin. You know, despite all the talk and hoopla, you know, that Trump was saying on the campaign trail last year about, you know, Ukraine started this war, you know, trying to reverse reality here. At the end of the day, I don't think anybody was really, you know, in opposition to Ukraine. They just wanted to see the war end, okay, somehow. And they, you know, they didn't like the way Biden was handling it by not really getting more involved in it. And here's the thing, though, we were walking a tightrope because we just pulled out of a fucking war in Afghanistan, and nobody wanted to go back into another war, but yet we got people that were sitting there saying we need to put our troops over there, you know, but they didn't understand the mechanics of doing something like that in the world of NATO, because we would be violating NATO rules of engagement by getting ourselves involved, because we would have dragged all the rest of the world into that conflict. And Ukraine would have been this big fucking graveyard of fighting between Russia and United States and NATO. Okay, you know. So I feel like, you know, there was really no way for Biden to try to do anything more than what we were doing at the time. But we really should have tried to work to get Ukraine into NATO quicker, and, you know, while this was going on. I don't know why they dragged their ass about this. The world wanted to help Ukraine, so that meant there was support for Ukraine to be part of NATO, because they could have got that support, you know. I don't know why that didn't happen under Biden. I just don't understand it. Okay, they were trying to say, well, the process takes years. The process only takes years because you do it that way. Okay, you don't have to take years to say yes or no. Okay, it doesn't take years for that. And Trump's still out there calling Zelensky a dictator, but he won't say that about Putin. Okay, again, another sign that Trump and Putin are butt buddies. Okay, and he only cares about what money he can make out of all of this, which is why he doesn't care about the lives that were lost over there already, like the girls were saying on their video. He doesn't care about that. You never really talked about that. How many times, you know, do you recall him saying anything about how sad it is that the lives are being lost in Ukraine, you know, and this war goes on? No, what he talks about is Russia. You know, how, you know, Zelensky invaded, you know, they started this thing. No, he's concerned about Russia. Why would he be concerned about Russia? Well, him and Putin are buddies, butt buddies. And then, of course, you know, when he's sitting there talking about we need to roll up Gaza and turn it into a resort for people, okay, and he doesn't give a shit about where to put the Palestinians, well, he doesn't care about life. That's another example of it, right? Just like they said in the video, okay? If he doesn't care about what happens to the people in Gaza, then why the hell would he care about the people in Ukraine? Okay? This is what you got. This is what we have sitting in the White House. an American authoritarian, okay, who's trying to play. He's, you know, he's like at a what do they call that? A Comic-Con there, dressed up as Putin. Okay, you know what I'm saying? He's trying to pretend to be Putin. Okay, and you know, he just he's bad at it because Putin's got his lunch. Okay, you know what I'm saying? He's like Kamala Harris said, he's gonna walk all over you, Trump. Okay, because he's weak. Trump is weak because they know how to play him. Greed is his game. They can buy him and sell him 50 times over. You know, Trump is just that. He's gullible. He's easily misled by fucking cash. Okay, he wants to make money, and he doesn't care what he has to do to get it. He's worse than a goddamn Ferengi if you watch Star Trek. You know, he'd sell our country out to the lowest bidder, you know, just so he could gain a fucking ton of money. We don't want somebody like that. He don't represent the good of this country or what it represents. Fuck no. That's not America. And I don't want, you know, people's children to grow up in an America like that, because how do you think they're going to see this country when they're at my age or something? Okay, what kind of a generation are we going to create in a country run like this? You know, they're not going to have much respect for what we know or what we knew as America, because they'll think, that didn't work then, that's why it's not that way now. Okay, how are we going to, you know, educate our young to say that, you know, America is this and that, and we have to maintain it when they grew up in a world where we had Donald Trump as a president? I just, you know, I don't. It's just there's a lot of dominoes there to fall by the choices we make when we vote, and unfortunately, those dominoes haven't stopped falling yet. Okay, haven't stopped falling yet. It's like the Vietnam War. Do you realize we're still dealing with the fallout from the Vietnam War all these years later? Okay, it's in all the veterans that show up at the clinics around this country that are like in their 60s and 70s now. They're still around. They're still around. We're still dealing with that. There's still some World War II veterans still around. You know, so when we got a president, or when we have a so-called president like Trump in the White House, how long do you think that fallout is going to last? What he's doing now. Think about that. It's going to last longer than I'm around, okay? You know? So I think that this is really a sad thing that's happening to our country, and it takes years to undo a mistake when it comes to politics and government. It takes years, because people's opinions change practically overnight depending on what they're listening to, and they can hold up the works, you know, for as long as they want, so they can keep things the way they want it. You see what I'm saying? That's why there's still a part of me that thinks a real live house cleaning is needed in our government, where people who are part of the problem must go. Okay? We need to get rid of that. We need to get rid of all these people that will not stand up against corporate interests in our government. Okay? All these people have to go. You know, if we don't do that, we don't overturn Citizens United, if we don't do any of that stuff, okay, we're going to be right back here at the same place with another asshole running the country. Okay, really. I mean, we've opened the gates now for more oligarch people to run for the White House. And anyone that's in business will run it as an authoritarian, because that's how they run their businesses, right? So that's how they're going to do it. It'll be like, you know, when we have all these school shootings, and, you know, we year after year after year, after a while we'll grow numb to the idea that we lost our democracy, and we'll just get used to having the authoritarian type. Well, once that happens, what do you think's going to happen again? They're going to push the envelope further. Okay? So we cannot allow ourselves to get used to this kind of this kind of government that Trump's created. We can't. Okay, because if we do that, we're selling out our future. We're selling out our future. We're giving up. So the future generations of this country will not be able to enjoy the privilege of living in a democracy and having their voice heard by the government, okay, if we do not take the steps to correct the errors that we have created. If you give a shit at all about your children and any grandchildren that might be coming, if you care at all, then you will agree with me. You will side with me on this, okay? You won't, disagree, and you will understand that, yeah, he's right, because America isn't just about me and me only. It's about this generation, the next generation, the one after that, and after that, okay? We take steps in this country to become a more perfect nation. And taking steps to an authoritarian nation is not going in the direction of perfection, my friends. Okay, take a look around you in the world, the rest of the world that's under communist dictatorships. Do those people look happy over there? No, I doubt that. Okay, all right. So let's go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Watching the power grab and illegality going on in Washington, it's easy to feel helpless, like there's nothing you can do. Don't believe it. Every state has laws protecting your data online. The penalties for violation are civil and criminal. Elon Musk and his tech bros are not above the law, and a corrupt president has no ability to pardon state crimes.
Elon Musk has gained access to sensitive personal data on millions of Americans, including social security numbers and bank information. President Trump says he wants Musk to go even further.
Take action. Contact your state's Consumer Protection Agency. Contact your state attorney general. If your social security data has been illegally accessed, you have rights. No one elected Elon Musk. No one elected the tech bros following his orders. They have no special status under the law. You have rights. Use them. Don't let the bastards get away with it.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it. It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. All right, I got two articles here that I want to read. This one here has been going on here for a few days now, and this is from Rolling Stone magazine, written by Nikki McCann Ramirez. And this was published today. Okay. Now let me fill you in. Okay, Florida Representative Corey Mills. He's a Republican. He pushed and bruised a 27-year-old woman during an incident in his D.C. home. A mistress, I guess, he abused, and everybody's been talking about that and getting all upset. So here's sort of a follow-up story here to what's happened so far with that. Trump's D.C. prosecutor did not sign an arrest warrant for MAGA lawmaker Corey Mills, who was accused of assault. Get that ad out of the okay. The D.C. Ed Martin, the D.C. federal attorney who recently referred to himself as President Trump's lawyer, may be expanding his partisan services to other embattled Republicans. Martin declined to sign off on an arrest warrant against MAGA Representative Corey Mills, who last week was accused of physically assaulting a 27-year-old woman with whom he was having an affair. On February 19th, the Metropolitan Police responded to an incident at the two-term congressman's residence in Southwest D.C., according to a copy of a police report obtained by Local News 4. Mills, quote-unquote, grabbed the woman, shoved her, and pushed her out the door. Police wrote that the victim had, quote, bruises on her arm which appeared fresh, unquote, adding that the woman had let the responding officers listen to a phone call in which Mills instructed her to, quote, lie about the origin of her bruises, unquote. Quote, eventually Mills made contact with police and admitted that the situation escalated from verbal to physical, but it was severe enough to create bruising, unquote, the report continued. When officers informed Mills he would be arrested, the victim returned to them and recanted several details about the altercation. Two subsequent reports obtained by News 4 contain scant details about how police plan to proceed with the case, with one describing the incident as a quote-unquote family disturbance. Officers declined to take Mills into custody, but it seems the department felt the encounter merited detention. An arrest warrant was created for Mills on Friday and sent to the U.S. Attorney for ratification. Martin's office refused to sign that warrant, instead returning the case to MPD for further investigation. Mills' office issued a statement responding to the allegations on Friday. Quote, "This week, law enforcement was asked to resolve a private matter at Congressman Mills' residence. Congressman Mills vehemently denies any wrongdoing whatsoever and is confident any investigation will clear this matter quickly," unquote. The alleged victim told Politico in her own statement that she had, quote, "reached out to law enforcement to address a personal matter," unquote, and had been, quote, "severely jet-lagged and sleep-deprived," unquote, at the time of the incident. Well, while the personal matter in question was emotionally charged, there was no physical altercation. This is a deeply personal matter that is being unfairly exploited for political purposes or other motives, unquote. D.C. law allows police to conduct an arrest at the scene of an intra-family dispute, quote, "based upon probable cause rather than obtaining an arrest warrant," unquote. If the officer has cause to believe the abuse, quote, "resulted in physical injury, including physical pain or illness," unquote, or was, quote, "intended to cause reasonable fear of imminent serious physical injury or death," unquote. Training documents from the Metropolitan Police Academy instruct officers that their assessment of a domestic violence incident and the need for a lawful arrest should not be influenced by, quote, "a statement from the victim that the victim does not want the suspect arrested," unquote, or, quote, "the fact that the suspect or victim is a law enforcement officer or public official," unquote. MPD told News 4 that they have launched an internal investigation into why no arrest was made at the scene and why the incident was listed as a family disturbance in a subsequent report and not an assault. Quote, "Once MPD leadership became aware of this matter, there was an immediate review of our initial response to ensure all procedures were followed. MPD's Internal Affairs Bureau is currently investigating this matter," the department said. So, yeah, okay. I guess it's pretty obvious. This guy's a Trump loyalist. And, you know, what do you expect from Trump? I mean, Trump himself is a sexual assaulter, okay? And he's covering up another one, you know? So, like, these kind of things don't seem to matter anymore under this regime that we have in the White House. And since he's Trump's lawyer, you know, they're not going to fucking do anything to this guy. You know, it's crazy now how things are. And, you know, I realize, you know, the MPD is going to fucking try and figure out what the hell went on and why this is not moving here in the direction that it should. But I think it's going to come to a stop, the investigation, when they find out, you know whose name is attached to this and what kind of clout they have. And, you know, I just, it's crazy. You know, we're probably going to see a lot more of these kind of things popping up in the days to come here on, you know, with these MAGA Republicans here that are, that have been appointed to positions by Trump. They feel like they're above the law, you know? Like, you know, I could do what I want and Trump will cover my ass. And that's pretty much what it's going to be like. You know, this Corey Mills here, you know, assaulting here somebody. I mean, if he's going to, if they let him off on that and they don't do anything, he'll do it again. Okay, he'll do it again. He's running around on his wife, beating up on his mistress, and nothing's going to get done. You know, that's what you got now for a fucking a country here. Our politicians. Any politician that supports Trump gets favors. It's like the worst kind of soap opera TV show you can think of, you know, where you got this wealthy asshole here who's going behind buying off you know, lawyers and buying off judges and shit like that just so they could cover some crooked guy's butt, you know. It's the same fucking shit. Where do you think Trump learned that from anyway? You know, Jesus. Now this next article here I want to read, I don't know how much of this had any influence in just what happened here a couple hours ago. Okay, and what I'm talking about is how Ukraine is agreeing to the framework that's being presented to them on how to do this peace thing. This story came out 3 days ago. Okay, so this story 3 days ago, and now this happening today. I'm wondering if the two are connected somehow. Okay, this is from Reuters, and it's written by Andrea Shalal and Joey Roulette, and it's entitled "U.S. Could Cut Ukraine's Access to Starlink Internet Services Over Minerals," says sources. U.S. negotiators pressing Kyiv for access to Ukraine's critical minerals have raised the possibility of cutting the country's access to Elon Musk's vital Starlink satellite internet system. Three sources familiar with the matter told Reuters. Ukraine's continued access to SpaceX-owned Starlink was brought up in discussions between U.S. and Ukrainian officials after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky turned down an initial proposal from U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, the source says. Starlink provides crucial internet connectivity to war-torn Ukraine and its military. The issue was raised again on Thursday during meetings between Keith Kellogg, the U.S. Special Ukraine Envoy, and Zelensky, said one of the sources who was briefed on the talks. During the meeting, Ukraine was told it faced imminent shutoff of the services if it did not reach a deal on critical minerals, said the source, who requested anonymity to discuss closed negotiations. Quote, Ukraine runs on Starlink. They consider it their North Star, unquote, said the source. Quote, losing Starlink would be a massive blow, unquote. After Reuters published its story, Musk posted on X that the article was quote unquote false and quote Reuters is lying, unquote. Contacted by Reuters for specifics, Musk did not immediately respond. A Reuters spokesperson said the news agency stands by its reporting. Zelensky has rejected demands from President Donald Trump's administration for $500 billion in mineral wealth from Ukraine to repay Washington for wartime aid, saying the U.S. has offered no specific security guarantees. On Friday, the Ukrainian president said the U.S. and Ukrainian teams were working on an agreement, and Trump said he expects a deal will be signed soon. Musk rushed thousands of Starlink terminals to Ukraine to replace communication services destroyed by Russia after its February 2022 invasion. Hailed at the time as a hero in Ukraine, Musk later curtailed access at least once before in the fall of 2022 as he became more critical of Kyiv's handling of the war. Poland's deputy prime minister said on Saturday that his country has been paying for Ukraine's Starlink subscription and will continue to do so. U.S. lawmakers are divided over Trump's efforts to find a quick end to the Ukraine war, and some have raised questions about Musk's rapid-fire efforts to call thousands of federal workers and shut down federal agencies. Melinda Herring, a senior fellow with the Atlantic Council, said Starlink was essential for Ukraine's operation of drones, a key pillar of its military strategy. Quote, losing Starlink would be a game changer, unquote, Herring said. Nothing that Ukraine was now at 1-1 parity with Russia in terms of drone usage and artillery shells. Ukraine has a wide range of different drone capabilities, ranging from sea drones and surveillance drones to long-range unmanned aerial vehicles. The Ukrainian embassy in Washington, the White House, and the United States Department of Defense did not respond to a request for comment. SpaceX, which operates Starlink, also did not respond to a request for comment. No surprise, everybody's keeping their mouth shut. Russian and U.S. negotiators have planned a second meeting in the coming 2 weeks to discuss ending the conflict. Russia's RIA state news agency reported on Saturday. The first meeting took place in Rada on Tuesday. I don't know how you say that, but last fall, Ukraine floated the idea of opening its critical minerals to investment by allies. This was part of a victory plan that sought to put it in the strongest position for talks and force Moscow to the table. Trump has embraced the idea, saying he wants Ukraine to supply the U.S. with rare earths and other minerals in return for financially supporting its war effort. Zelensky rejected a detailed U.S. proposal last week that would have seen Washington and U.S. firms receiving 50% of Ukraine's critical minerals, which include graphite, uranium, titanium, and lithium, a key component in electric or car batteries. Since then, a rift has emerged between the leaders, with Trump denouncing Zelensky as, quote, a dictator without elections, unquote, on Wednesday, after Zelensky said Trump was trapped in a Russian disinformation bubble, a response to the U.S. president suggesting Ukraine started the war. And this is, like I said, reported by Andrea Shalal. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if this has anything to do with what just happened tonight here, okay, a couple hours ago. So basically, he's threatening Ukraine. We're going to shut down your access to the internet and therefore cut the legs out from under you on your military defense. Okay? All I could say is, Zelensky just should not have to feel like, he has no other options. As from what I recall here of the rest of the world is saying, they will stand behind Ukraine. And maybe they will pick up where the United States drops the ball, okay? And maybe Zelensky could get their help, on creating internet abilities for Ukraine if Starlink is cut, okay? That's just an option. I don't know. I mean, it depends, because right now they're in the middle of, a fight here with Russia. It could take too long to come up with some alternative, but like I said, this is ridiculous. I mean, the United States has beaten Zelensky over the head here with threats, and this is not how you support a country, which of course he's not trying to. He's supporting Russia. That's who he's supporting here. He's trying to shut this war down by any means possible, and if that means threatening Zelensky, taking away, internet and all this other stuff, okay, what's Zelensky going to be left to do but surrender, basically, is what this is leading up to, a surrender. And I feel that this should not be Zelensky's option here. I mean, I feel like, if the rest of the world, if NATO is willing to help out Zelensky, then he should tell Trump to go fuck himself and turn to NATO and get help from them now. Okay? Seriously. Why not? They're already saying that that NATO's already saying they can't believe the United States isn't helping out Ukraine, and right now they're looking to they're all supporting Zelensky. So I would say to him, if he even watches any of my dumb videos here, but if he does, go to NATO, ask them. This is what the United States is doing. Can you counter this? Can you give us internet here so we can use our drones and continue this thing? Okay? We don't want to have the United States dominating the world on what's peaceful and what's going to be war. Okay? NATO should have a voice in that too. And if NATO cares about democracy maintaining itself, okay, then they will help Zelensky, because Zelensky wants his country to be a democratic country. They can't hold elections for a new leader right now, not while they're under fire. Okay, you know what it takes to get set up an election during, in situations like this. Okay, I mean, it's impossible. Trump is asking, for something that can't be done. Okay, it takes money, it takes time, and right now he ain't got the resources for this. And Zelensky is really, people are looking to him to continue this fight. There aren't many people in Ukraine who think that Zelensky's doing the wrong thing here, okay? They're all willing to fight for their country, and Zelensky is willing to be there to lead the way, okay? And that's what they want. So right now ain't the time to be bitching about, oh, they ought to have elections over there doing, you know, like what Trump's been saying, okay? In this country, if we were under a war, we wouldn't have any fucking elections during a time of war until the war was over. You know, Jesus Christ. You know, you can't do a transition of power when you're in an emergency situation here. You have to deal with what you got. And, you know, that's kind of the situation with Ukraine. They cannot hold elections for a new leader, okay, while Russia is banging the shit out of their country. You just can't do that. And, you know, if you had a president who had any common sense and any fucking idea of how things work in the world, he'd know that, okay? But this is Trump. So anyway, yeah, those are the two articles that I read. I thought, you know, and especially this last one here, where I just heard that Ukraine is agreeing to the format of what Trump is trying to lay out here. It might mean a nice way of saying that Ukraine's been bullied into capitulating because they don't want to lose their internet service, which means Elon Musk is the leverage that Trump's using to get what he wants. And that way he can brag, see, we did it and Biden couldn't. Well, Biden wouldn't have held somebody over the fire to get what he wanted. He wouldn't have turned on Ukraine. He was trying to help Ukraine. He wouldn't have turned on them to do what you're doing. So, no. You didn't get what you want. You bullied this side to get what they want, okay? And then you lied about saying you cared about the lives being lost over there, which you don't. This is all about minerals, okay? This is all about taking half of their minerals and using it to make batteries. And guess who wants those batteries, by the way? Elon Musk, because what's in his Teslas? Batteries, okay? That's what he wants. He wants that minerals because Musk wants those minerals. He wants to rape that fucking country of that shit so he can use it to make his cars. Well, you know what? If his car company falls through the fucking floor like it's doing now, it ain't gonna matter if he gets those minerals or not, because people aren't gonna be buying those fucking cars, okay? You know, there's still more reports of people getting their tires slashed who drive Teslas, and spray painted on, okay? People in this country are taking their anger out at Musk by any means, you know, anything tied to him, okay? So, and then of course, Europe is banning Teslas over there. So, you know, this bullshit here, you know, about Musk and all that, and him controlling things behind the scenes and controlling Trump, you know, that could be true to some degree. But Trump is busy trying to bully his fat ass around by threatening our governor here because, oh, you know, we want to try to help, you know, equality in this state. People can have rights and not be, you know, discriminated against because they happen to be trans or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what the hell? I mean, it's like it's such a small fucking group of people that are doing this, okay, that are trans. It's not a fucking huge issue like COVID or like, you know, putting a ban on abortions, okay? The trans issue is not such a issue that needs to be thought about because it doesn't affect everybody. The only reason why people are on this goddamn tirade is because that's all the right wing talks about. You know, they got people scared to go to the fucking bathroom. I mean, you know, just think about, you know, especially, you know, those of you out there, if you're in a restaurant and you go to use the bathroom and there's other people in there, they might be looking at you saying, is she trans or is he trans? I mean, you know, that's how paranoid MAGA's got this country right now. And that's why it's such a big fucking problem in everybody's mind when the problem is just minuscule. There is no problem. It wouldn't be a problem. Because the solution to people's worries about that is so simple. All right? I really don't understand how people can allow themselves to be sidetracked by shit like that. It makes you think about what's important to people. doing well with, you know, having money so they can survive, or when they go to the bathroom, is the person in there really who they look to be? You know, I mean, Jesus Christ, you know. I don't know. We as an American society have a brain level of a 2-year-old, okay? And as a result, we have a country that's falling apart. Our government is corrupted, and we don't have the brain power in our society to actually understand and correct that problem. Some of us do, but not enough. Not enough of us do. And the election result proves that. The election result last year proves that. Too many people are disengaged from politics when they need to be engaged in it, okay? These are the days everybody has to be engaged in it. And if I was a president, I would push for a mandate that everyone must vote on election days, okay? Everyone, and I mean everyone. No excuses. If you don't go to the ballot box, you will get a ballot thrown in your face and you will sign it there, okay? And I would recommend that. Force people to vote, okay? That would put a stop to a lot of the shit, you know, if you had more people voting, okay? But no, that's not what we do. We just, you know, we're too interested in, people having the choice, you know, not to vote or to vote. No, when it comes to election, no, you don't have that freedom of choice. It should be mandated. You have to vote, okay? It is a must. There's a lot of things we have to do in this world we don't want to do, like registering your car, getting it inspected, okay? People would love not to have to do that, but guess what? You're mandated to do it. You must do it, okay? It's against the law if you don't. So voting should be the same thing. It should not be a, you know, take it or leave it option. No, you should do it as required. As a citizen of this country, you are responsible to show up and vote. Even if you got to stand in line for a fucking year in the pouring rain, you're going to vote one fucking way or the other. And if you don't go to the poll, the ballot will be sent to you, and you will make your choice and mail it back in. You know, that's the way it's got to be done. You know, if you think that's authoritarian, then fine. But you know, I'll tell you right now, the reason why Kamala Harris lost was a lot of people who voted for Biden didn't vote for her. They stayed home and didn't vote at all. Okay, that was like 7 million people who didn't vote in that last election, and those 7 million voted for Biden, and they didn't show up. You figure that out, okay? You figure that out. All right, so that's it for today. Everybody have a great rest of the week. Subscribe, comment, and share. Keep your ears open for any health-related issues, and treat each other with respect out there, and dignity, and be helpful. Be friendly, just do what you have to do to make your communities in your neighborhoods, a place that you can be sure that there's help when you need it, okay? Just do that. It really doesn't take a whole lot, okay? But just try. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.